Imagine a grand ballroom in London, 1860. The air is thick with the scent of expensive perfume and candle wax. You see a woman of breathtaking beauty. Her skin is as white as marble, her eyes are unnaturally bright and dilated, and her waist is so thin it looks like it might snap. To the Victorian eye, she is the pinnacle of elegance. But if you looked closer, you'd see the horror behind the mask. Her glow is actually a sign of slow poisoning. Her sparkle is a symptom of heart failure. And her graceful fainting spells? Those are her internal organs crying out for oxygen. Welcome to the Victorian era, a time when the ultimate beauty standard was, quite literally, to look like you were dying. During the 19th century, a strange obsession took hold of society. Tuberculosis chic. Because consumption, or TB, was a slow-killing disease, it created a specific aesthetic: pale skin, thin bodies, and flushed cheeks. Society began to romanticize the vulnerable and fragile look of the terminally ill. But nature didn't always provide this look. So, the women of the era turned to science. Or rather, a lethal version of it. They didn't just want to look beautiful. They wanted to achieve a perfection that was only possible through chemistry. Chemistry that was hidden in their makeup, their medicine cabinets, and even the very fabric of their clothes. Let's descend into the dark history of the deadliest beauty secrets ever conceived. Our first stop is the color that defined the era, Paris green. In the mid-1800s, a new, vibrant green dye called Scheele's green became a sensation. It was used in everything: artificial flowers, wallpaper, and most famously, grand evening gowns. It was the it color for the elite. But there was a dark secret behind the brilliance. The primary ingredient in this dye was copper arsenite. Yes, pure arsenic. A single ball gown could contain up to 900 grains of arsenic. As the lady danced, the friction against her skin caused the poison to be absorbed directly into her bloodstream. It caused painful skin ulcerations, scabs, and her hair to fall out in clumps. But the ladies weren't the only victims. The seamstresses who spent weeks sewing these killer dresses suffered far worse, often dying agonizing deaths with green foam at their mouths. But the danger didn't stop at the wardrobe. It moved to the vanity table. To achieve that ghostly, translucent skin, Victorian women used Venetian Ceruse. This was a thick white makeup made of white lead. It gave them a flawless porcelain finish, but at a terrible price. The lead slowly ate away at their real skin, causing deep gray pits and sores. And how did they fix those sores? By applying even more lead makeup to cover them up. It was a vicious cycle that led to lead poisoning, causing tremors, infertility, and eventually, total organ failure. They were literally painting their own death masks every single morning. If the lead didn't kill them, their eye care might. The Victorians were obsessed with wide, watery, dreamy eyes. To get this look, women used drops made from a plant called Atropa belladonna. In Italian, Belladonna means beautiful woman. In English, its other name is deadly nightshade. These drops acted as a powerful muscle relaxant, causing the pupils to dilate to an extreme degree. While it made their eyes look sparkling, it also caused blurred vision and a permanent sensitivity to light. Frequent use led to blindness and, in many cases, a fatal increase in heart rate. They were poisoning their nervous systems just to look starstruck at a dinner party. But perhaps the most iconic instrument of Victorian torture was the corset. The goal was the wasp waist, sometimes as small as 16 inches. To achieve this, women practiced tight lacing. Over years of wearing these rigid garments, a woman's body would literally rearrange itself. Her lower ribs would be crushed inward. Her liver would be pushed down and sometimes sliced by her own ribs. Her lungs had so little room to expand that her breathing became shallow and fast. This is why fainting couches, became a staple of Victorian furniture. Women weren't just delicate or emotional, they were literally suffocating. If a woman fainted at a ball, it wasn't a drama. It was her body's desperate attempt to stay alive. The final danger we must discuss is the crinoline. In the 1850s and 60s, the hoop skirt reached massive proportions. These huge frames made of steel or whalebone were covered in layers of highly flammable silk and gauze. Because of their size, women often lost track of where their skirts ended. In a world lit by thousands of open candles and gas lamps, this was a recipe for disaster. It is estimated that during the height of the Crinolinemania, nearly 3,000 women died in England alone from their dresses catching fire. If a woman's skirt caught a spark, she became a human torch in seconds. And because the skirts were so large, her friends couldn't get close enough to help her without catching fire themselves. As we look back at these trends, it's easy to judge the Victorians as crazy. But why did they do it? Because in the 19th century, a woman's only currency was her appearance. Her status, her marriage, and her entire future depended on how well she could fit into a lethal mold. They weren't just victims of fashion. They were victims of a society that valued an impossible, dying image over a healthy, living person. History shows us that the standards of beauty change, but the pressure to conform often remains just as dangerous. From arsenic dresses to modern-day extreme surgeries, the question remains: how much are we willing to sacrifice for the perfect look? Thank you for watching this journey into the dark side of history. If you found this fascinating, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment about which era we should explore next, and remember, beauty is often more than skin deep. It can be deadly.